Hey, all you carbon based life forms. I'm Kevin, and I'm not childish. Greetings. Well, I'm about 5 years old now. I got a green tooth. I already know there's something wrong with me. Scared of people, don't get along. My parents have bought 43 acres outside of town, moved a hill around, and started building a house. We're getting ready for church one morning in our old house. I said, Mommy, what if we die before we get to move in? Here I am, 5 years old, already worrying about death. Definitely something wrong with me. So now we've moved in. Moved into the house. I've started the first grade. First thing I realize, I want to be popular, but I'm not. And I can't figure out how to be popular, and I never do. However, I know how to make problems for myself. First grade, I almost got my ass beat from the teacher. I don't know what I did. Another thing is, on Tuesdays, I'm supposed to walk up to my grandmother's house instead of take the bus. I forget. I ride home. I'm crying like crazy because there's nobody at the house. I try to call. I finally realize the only phone number I know is the one to our house, and so I'm calling myself. When my mother picks me up, good old mom, she starts yelling at me. So, of course, I never made that mistake again. Move into second grade. I don't know what's wrong with me in the second grade, but I guess I just am afraid of my teacher. She looks like a witch. I mean, the glasses she wears and the dresses, and she's old and wrinkly and gray hair, that salt and pepper ugly crap. I mean, man. And she definitely don't like me. So much so that my mother comes in every so often and works with me because I don't know how to talk even. I just freeze up. Well, this is all part of my personality too. And so we're definitely not getting along. I guess not guess, I'm having a personality clash. So here's another example of the way my parents handle problems. I must have gotten some bad grades or whatever, and we were having a class trip coming in a week or so, and I was looking forward to it because for the most part we were just going to go up to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and go around the battlegrounds, but most of the time was going to be spent in this little place called Fantasyland, which is just an amusement park for children. And I thought this would be great. I couldn't wait to go, right? But my report card comes out the before the class trip. And so while I know that I'm going to either get my ass beat or yelled at, I'm actually made to stay up in my room until my father gets home. And when he gets home, he calls me down and just lights right into me and yelling at me and everything else. And like I said, I don't even remember what it was exactly. And so anyway, he finally decides what my punishment's going to be. I'm not going to be able to go on that trip. Now that was devastating, and definitely way too much. It wasn't justifiable to punish me that bad, especially since I'm already having problems that I don't even know about. But then later on, he calls me back down and says that I can go on the trip. Well, now I figured out why. Because my mother was one of the chaperones. So she had to go. So I guess that was probably figuring that, there was nobody to watch me. And no, we didn't get babysitters. So anyway, I'm allowed to go, but guess what? I am not allowed to go on any rides, and I'm not given any money. So when the day comes, I wish I would have stayed home. It would have been better. Of course, I'm sitting there watching everybody else on the rides and having a good time, and nothing. Just nothing. If you're a parent, don't ever do that to your children. Don't spoil them either. But, ask why they're acting like they are. Make sure you know what's going on really, especially when it's inside somebody's head. So anyway, I survived it, but obviously I can remember it. I can remember kids asking me to go if I was going to go on the rides, and nope. And I never did tell anybody why. I just sat there, at a picnic table, and that was it. Speaking of my parents and the way they punished me, here's another one. I said I had to walk to my grandmother's house on Tuesdays because my mother took care of the payroll for my grandmother's businesses. And my grandmother make, dinner for us, and I and my sister were bantering back and forth, saying some stuff to each other. Of course, not real mean, but, we're just trying to irritate each other, I guess. And I have this habit of turning words around and, instead of countersink, it's counterstink. Instead of Walmart, it's Walfart. And, I'm Dane Brett. I have Dane Bramage. Things like that. Well, I decided to put an F in place of S for sucker. That didn't go down too good. And of course, I had no idea what I said, but I found out what it tastes like to have your mouth washed out with soap. My father drugged my ass off to the bathroom, and then he forced me to finish my dinner. So if you think it's bad getting your mouth washed out with soap, now try to eat. It's horrible. But that's another phase of why me, So, I don't know whether this fits all of you out there, but I'm a carbon-based life form that has no redeeming social value. See you on the flip side.